All right, everyone. Looks like everyone's grabbed their tea and coffee for a while. So we're going to kick off the meeting. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to John and Beck for having us here today and every other week that we meet here. I'd just like everyone to put their hands together for John and Beck, please. Have we got any new members today? First timers? How awesome. Thank you very much for coming. For those who are new and we don't have your contact details, there is a folder out on the front desk. If you would like to leave your name and your email with us, we can make sure that you get the newsletters and the information and invitations that we send out to everybody. So that'd be great if you put that down. We would also like to acknowledge the Gympie people. We are in their battles with them and they are in our battles with us. And we work very well together, and we will be working in the future a little bit more where we see the contest of this referendum that is going through at the moment. And anyone been reading the press lately? Everyone's seen that they're now suggesting that they may have to defer the referendum to next year. Why? I wonder. Hey, they're not winning. People are waking up. There's a lot more of us around Australia, and now people are starting to speak up, and now they're scared. It's not running to their agenda, and that's what we're doing. We're ruining their agenda. Well done, people. All right, today we're not going to go through too much of a normal agenda because we have our very special guest in Dick Yardley, and we're going to have a fabulous afternoon listening to what Dick has got for us. But most importantly, what Dick is going to be providing to us is evidence. And this is the thing that what I say all the time, is knowledge is power. And when we start making comments back into other people and we can refer to factual documents, this is what gives us the power. And we'll keep doing this, and we'll keep learning and learning. This is what it's all about. When we learn, the most important part of that is we pass on our knowledge. So we start getting into conversations with people who are non-believers, the ones who are asleep, the ones who have been completely disguised by the media and the government. We start getting out and infiltrating that process, and I think that what's happening with the referendum for the voice proves when people stand up and speak, it gets them worried, and that's what we're about. So today, I would love to introduce Dick Yardley. Dick is a respected constitutional researcher and writer. He's also a farmer, so a person from the land, and an author of books such as The Australian Political and Religious Leaders' Treason, Treachery and Sabotage, along with other notable research books such as The Australian Political Treason, Treachery and Sabotage. Dick travels the country delivering this message. And what's really important for us is that I think everyone here today has a thirst for knowledge and a thirst for the truth. And this is what we're getting today. So I'd love you to put your hands together and welcome Dick.
Hi everybody. Basically, what I'm presenting today is just black and white facts. Hi Pete. So, yeah, if you've got any questions, please jump up, because it gets a little bit complicated, so jump up and yell out what your question is, because if I lose you halfway or anywhere, it's pretty hard to keep up. Not that I speak fast, but it's mind-boggling how corrupt we are. So to start off with, I'll just quickly run through here what we've got up on the board. That's the seal that sits on our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act.
Standing too close in front of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, the main part of this seal is the centre pin. That's the authority. The line and the horse, whatever you want to call it, uniform, are only supporters of the authority. It's the same here. Now, what they've done here, this is treason from 1973. This seal here is a public functionary seal. It was given to the Commonwealth government in 1912. What the political parties here have done, they've changed these emblems. Like that centre one there is for Victoria. It had an imperial crown, which was their link to the British Empire. Imperial means a link to an empire or an empress. So that's a link to an empire. Queensland done exactly the same thing. That's their link. That was our link to the British Empire. They've taken that out. What they've done is both those crowns have been removed, and it removes our link to the British Empire. As you can go through this stuff, every link that we have has been removed. So we're now, basically we've got no links at all. So we've got to take them back because we voted in 1999 not to allow any of this. We voted in 1999 to keep our Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act, and that makes us a constitutional monarchy. Now, they keep trying to push the point that we're a democracy. Under a democracy, we don't have any rights because we've got no constitution under it. Our constitution, where we have all our rights, is the Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act. I always write out Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted, because the simple fact is they've got a Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act 1900, 9th of July, same as us, but it's under this seal. That means it's the Queen of Australia. That means when you turn around and talk about, it will only recognise sections 1 to 128, 128. So it doesn't recognise the preamble and the first 6 clauses. It doesn't recognise any of the clauses now because I've taken them out. But that's not us, that's only political parties. This seal now is registered and trademarked in the US, numbers 89000533. So it's definitely not us. And you go to all their constitutions today, those that have bought a stick, there's 4 of them on that stick, all copyrighted. Now, if you go and buy, you don't have to buy, you should be able to get them from your local member, a pocket constitution. It tells you in that, they keep pushing the point that we're a democracy, and they also tell you we're a constitutional monarchy. But when it's got this here, Australian Constitution, that's under the Queen of Australia. There's only 2 names that you can call our Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act. Clause 1 tells you this act may be called Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act. The may gives you an option. You go to the very next act, which is the Acts Interpretation Act of 1901. It tells you that the Constitution Act is the Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act. So that is in capital letters. So if you write it that way, it's going to be the in capital letters, capital T-H-E. I mean just the T-A, T is the capital, then the Constitution Act. People sort of talk about like the Constitution. It's not, constitutions have to be an act. So if it doesn't have act after it, it's not it. And if it's either of those 2 names, that's it. Because when you're talking to a judge or a lawyer, they always refer, same with when these people write to freedom of information bullshit, they're expecting somebody sitting in treason to give them an honest answer, but they will always write back to you and talk to you about the Constitution or Australia's Constitution. That's theirs, not ours. It's their way of getting around the facts. Okay, I just want to quickly go through This is the Commonwealth side of things, just to push the point of how we actually got to where we are. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but if you've got questions, jump up and yell. Now, to start off with this is on that the stick that people want. Now, this is in 1960 they took over the Governor General. What they did is the Governor General under letters patent must be appointed by royal sign manual and signet. The signet is the authority of the Commission. When you take out the authority, they put another piece of paper over the Commission to take the authority away, and that means they had the authority. We're doing exactly the same thing here in Queensland. It's all there in factual system. Now, that was in 1960. We went to war with Vietnam, which was illegal because we went to war with the Defence Force for the defence of the Commonwealth of Nations, not to tell some other body on the other side of the world how to live. Then we created the dollar, which is counterfeit to our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, which makes our tax office, the whole damn lot of them, illegal. And it puts everybody in a system of, they're all compromised because they're paid outside the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, even though they think they're under it. They're not. Now, if we go to 1972, the enacting manner and form, can we go up to these? No, sorry, forward. Keep going, please.
What page?
Right, enacting manner and form. Can you just put them up a bit further, please?
Oh, right.
Look on top. So the enacting manner and form, done properly, is part of royal assent. Like the last Act of 1972 was being enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, the Senate and the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Australia. Then the very first Act when Whitlam created in 1973 was being enacted by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia. That removed Crown authority. Now, when you turn around and take out Most Excellent Majesty was removed and Commonwealth was removed. Now, the definition of Commonwealth is the preamble and the first 6 clauses. That's in the big red book. So when you take out the preamble, it's whereas the people of, the of belongs to all the states. The people of all those states voted on that part. So that's, yes?
Sorry, the big red book.
Hang on.
The big red book.
The big red book is the annotated constitution.
Oh, okay. Thanks,
Okay, the big red book is the annotated constitution of the Commonwealth. It's, I think, 1,000 something pages, but it explains every phrase in our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, how they got to it and what it means. And it's very handy when you're studying law to have that book. Now if we go to the Acts Interpretation Act, please. Here. In this Acts Interpretation Act, like I said to you before, that's Act number 2 of 1901. It's the very next act to our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. Now the political parties in that changed our constitutional definitions, which is highly illegal. They created another Australia, means their Commonwealth of Australia in a geographical sense, and Commonwealth means their Commonwealth of Australia in a geographical sense. This is just paperwork. Geographical sense. Geographical means geographical, and then that means the study of the land. And sense means, well, you've got sense, you've got eye sense, smell sense, all that sort of thing. So basically what we're fighting today is the pen. No, the government hasn't come out and shot anybody, but we're fighting what they've written. And like all their judiciary and everything are under that system, their police are under that system. That's their power, not authority. They've wiped out our authority and put in their power. Australian Electoral Office, please. If you don't understand something, please just yell up. Now, this is very interesting. This, in the Australian Electoral Office, they've created it under their definition. Now, please remember, from now on, if we use the word Australia or Commonwealth, it means their Commonwealth of Australia in the geographical sense. It's not ours. And also, when you look at, when they change the words Commonwealth of Australia to their system, our constitution is Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. So they've basically taken over our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act at this time as well. This is why today it is all copyrighted. It's not ours. You've got to go back to ours. In the Electoral Office, they created, I just might pull that up and read it. Okay, Australian Electoral Office. Now, just as I said, it's their Australia, right? In section number 4, there is hereby established an office to be known as the Australian Electoral Office, which shall consist of officers referred to in this section and the staff referred to in sections 15. And we go to subsection 2, there shall be a Chief Australian Electoral Office, B, the Deputy Chief Australian Electoral Officer, and an Australian Electoral Officer in each state. So from now on, this is in 1973, from now on, all people sitting in Parliament, because you have political parties, which are illegal under our Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act. Yes. Did you put your hand? Oh, sorry.
I'll ask a question since
Yeah,
it's spot
go for
it. So you're saying that whenever it says Act, that's the original. Is that the quickest way to separate it? If it says the Commonwealth Australia Act is the way that we...
No, this is Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act.
Right, I just want to know, is that a simple way for me to remember it? Yeah.
Well, yeah, 1901.
Yeah.
It's the original, and I always put proclaimed and gazetted beside it,
Yeah.
because a lot of people talk about the Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act 1900, and that's 9th of July, but Western Australia hadn't finished voting at that time. When they created the proclamation, I think it was in September the 17th, Western Australia had finished voting, but when it was gazetted, the Gazette comes up and it just pulls the proclamation into the Gazette. So the Gazette pushes the proclamation into 1901. There was no Commonwealth of Australia before 1901. It's just their system, they play hell with names.
Yeah.
And basically all we're doing, like I say, we're fighting the pen.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Can I ask a question, Dick?
Yep.
All right, so you talked about the 1,000-page red book. So that's the original Commonwealth of Australia Act and explanations of it put together by the founding fathers.
Yes.
The real thing, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
And all this other subsequent stuff has been put together by politicians trying to undermine all our fundamental rights and privileges under the original Constitution.
Yeah. See, what you've got to realise is our Constitution doesn't give us any rights, doesn't take any away, because as we're born, we have every right known to mankind. It is a common law contract. Common law means, unless I hurt you, what the hell's the problem? Now, we have every right known to mankind under that Act, and they are bound to us. We vote them in. This is what they don't like. Today they are sitting on top of us because they run the police force, or their police force, as in mercenaries, which is all they are, in a system of their power with the gun sitting on their hip. It was easy to work out now why Howard had all our guns taken away from us. What's wrong?
rights from the Creator.
That's right.
And a lot of people would believe that. Some people don't believe in the Creator. But we don't get our rights from government.
No.
All through human history, they've been taking rights away from people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
most of the most atrocious things that have happened in societies have been perpetrated by governments.
If you look at the rest of the world at the present time, everybody's up in arms with their so-called parliaments. And like as I said before, if you go, even in this book here, which is a pocket constitution, it tells you there's no office for the Prime Minister or the opposition. Because we don't have a Prime Minister or an opposition. We've got this clown running around the bloody world now as so-called Prime Minister. He is just nothing but another piece of shit.
Tell us what you really think.
He'd have a necktie. Now can we go to the Citizens Act, please? Okay. Now, because they removed, if you remember, sorry. Huh?
Talk into your microphone.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, those at the back can hear you better.
Okay. Remember when they changed the enacting manner and form? They removed the preamble and the first 6 clauses, which they've removed the rest now, but when they removed the preamble, they removed all the living. The preamble covers the Queen and it covers everybody within the state, because the first words in the preamble are, whereas the people of, then it names all the states. So they removed that. They don't recognise us as people anymore. So in their system of their Australia, their Commonwealth, meaning their Commonwealth of Australia in a geographical sense, they turned around and created us as abstract entities in the Australian Citizenship Act. This is the first time you have the Queen of Australia. We swear our oath now to the Queen of Australia, which is an abstract entity. So in their system, that's where you get John Doe, Jane Doe, this sort of thing, all in capital letters. Because we're just abstract in their system. And abstract means there's nothing concrete. So there's no bodies within it. You are just a name on a piece of paper. Can we go to the Royal Styles and Titles Act, please? This is a very interesting act because everybody tells you that the Queen signed it. She never signed a bloody thing. Elizabeth R, in the earlier stage, she would sign Elizabeth R. But it was very convenient for the political parties to have Elizabeth R on the top of their documents, because Elizabeth R, the R stands in Latin for Regina. Regina in English is Queen. So you've got Elizabeth the Queen. That is their abstract Queen. Can we just go back to the other page, please, just backwards? Woo. Just down a little bit more. A bit more. Right. Now this is what you swear your oath to. I-A-B, renounce all other allegiances, swear to Almighty God. Now remember that Almighty God is their Satan. Yeah. Because under their system, when they removed the preamble, that removes humbly relying on the blessings of Almighty God. So we removed that, Almighty God, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Australia and fulfil my duties as an Australian citizen. Now, the laws of Australia are the political party laws, not ours, because that's not our Australia. And the same with the duties as an Australian citizen. That's got nothing to do with us. That's just their paperwork that they've created. Okay, can we go back to the Royal Styles, sorry? This act here always has Elizabeth R on it. The Proclamation and Gazette has Elizabeth R on every page till you get to the last page, and then they put the Queen of Australia in there. This act is how they try to, or how they created their own enacting manner and form under the Queen of Australia. It's 3 pages, and when I was, how would you put it, I was very friendly with Bob Catter's office, and I went in there one day and asked the ladies there if they could go to the Parliamentary Library in Canberra and get me a proclamation and gazette for this. The proclamation and gazette is 5 pages. They made a whole Parliament, government system in those 5 pages. You can't get them anywhere else. If we go down through a bit further, please. See, this being enacting by the Queen, the Senate and the House of Representatives of Australia as follows. That enacting manner and form just wipes out the Act. It's got no Crown authority whatsoever. Keep going, please. Keep going. Now this is what I had to get out of Canberra. Now the red is my writing, what I've scribbled all over it, because in this they created their whole system. I won't go right through it. It's on the stick. If everybody's bought a stick, it's not a problem. Can we keep going through, please? Keep going. No, keep, hang on, where the hell am I? No, right. Yes, keep going, sorry. Keep going. This way, please, sorry. I get muddled up. We need page 14, please. This one. Right, now come up a bit, please. Right. Now see this here. This is the last page of those 5 pages. It is signed off by Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen of Australia, her other realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth. That's their Commonwealth and their abstract Queen. Now, that's that document, plus a clean one without my red scrubbing all through it. That is on the sticks for anybody. Can we go up now, please, the next one? Right, now this is interesting. This Lands Acquisition Act, this is your start of your land gone. They turn around and they remove the Governor-General, because it's always the Crown runs the land. The Governor-General runs the land and the State Governor runs the land. They removed the Governor-General and they put in the Minister. Then they changed the definition from yards to metres. So for their Australia is totally different. We've got to understand these things, because we still own our land as yards. On their paperwork, it is metres.
Is that similar to why the decimal currency changed in 66?
Yes.
What was it? Was that because of the same decimal from... that big change that had all happened in 66 when we got that decimal currency?
Yes, that was to remove Crown and all that sort of thing. But see, even if you go and get to this book, it still tells you that everybody's to be paid in pounds. And they cannot change the writing. They can only change, like the Governor-General gets paid in X amount, say £10,000, they can change the 10,000. They can't change the word pound. And it's still in this book. And it's still in this book that we vote, not alone, not with political parties. See, what they rely on a hell of a lot is nobody reads. Like I say, in this book it tells you, the early ones don't tell you. You've got to get one, this is 2017, the ones of 2020 is the latest ones. But they tell you everything in here and relying that you don't read. Okay, this is where our land goes missing. Now all Commonwealth land is under this system. Can we go to the next page, please? No, keep going. No, I've got it on this page. I'll read it out to you. In this system where they change things over, like the 5 pages that we've just been through, I told you I had to get out of the Parliamentary Library in Canberra. Those 5 pages where they made their own private parliament, government, the whole lot. They've got God, not being our God, so it's Satan. Our sign manual, Governor-General of Australia, Great Seal, Government of Australia, Parliament of Australia, Queen of Australia, our Royal Proclamation, Elizabeth R, our Australian Parliament. Every time you use the word Australia, it is theirs. This whole system is theirs. It's only paper. That's all we're fighting, is the bloody pen and the paper. Like they say, the pen is mightier than the sword. And that's all we're bloody fighting. And they're saying, yeah, we'll keep going. And that Commonwealth of Australia is now registered in Washington DC. So you've got, we're just, people keep saying that we're a Yankee state, but we're not. And let's face it, our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act is damn sight better than theirs. They only had, I think it was 52 or 54 people vote for theirs. We had the whole country vote. Because it says, whereas the people, that is, they like leaving that out, and a lot of people use we the people, but no, it's whereas the people of. And the of, as you'll find out later, is a very important little word. Because the of in this system is belonging to. So you've got whereas the people belonging to, or names of states. Seas and submerged lands I'm not worried about. Now can we go, I'll read these ones out. In this system, they created their own family law court, the Federal Court of Australia, it's actually the Family Court of Australia, Federal Court of Australia, Australian Federal Police, and the moment they brought that in, they removed the Commonwealth Police. Then they created the High Court of Australia. The High Court, when they created that in 1979, that was to their system, like it's the High Court of Australia. And I have quite a bit of trouble getting that part, like we have a High Court of Australia in our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act. It's written up once. If you go into our Judiciary Act of 1903, it's written up once. The rest of the time we call it the High Court. So they made a High Court of Australia, but the definition of their Australia is totally different to ours. And it sits there. Can you go out of that and then pull up High Court Bulletin, please? In this system of making their High Court, they removed the seat and constitution of our High Court from the Judiciary Act to create their private High Court system. Nothing above us has authority. They have power, but not authority. No. It's
What's it look like?
No. Go out of those.
Yeah.
It's in that document we were in before, but just a bit further up.
So you just want me to move a page?
No, I want you to go out of that. Go out of that.
Yeah.
Go out of that.
Yeah, all I have to do is click on
Oh,
here.
yeah, please. Can we go back to the original document?
That's this one.
No. What? Forget that one now.
We got the page.
No, none of those. Go out of this whole document.
So you want to go back to the USB?
Yes, please. Oh, I see. I'm not up with the knowledge of these things.
Right.
Now, can we go to... No, badge of the state. No, we're out of that, because that's not the USB. Right, now we should have High Court. High Court Bulletin. There it is. Okay. These things are good when you're sort of really clued up with them, but anyway, can we click this out, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is the High Court Bulletin. I was talking with a bloke in South Australia a couple of weeks ago, and he's getting taken up for bankruptcy. And I'm saying to him, how can they take you for bankruptcy when the money is counterfeit? So how can they take you for bankruptcy? And if and when we get enough people together, all our loans are fraud. The money is fraud. The money is counterfeit. You've got to remember those things. It means when there's fraud in the contract is void. The fraud is on their side, not our side. So if you've paid the first endowment of your house or car or whatever it is, you own it. Because they've signed up the fraud, not you. Now in this here, this is a high court, their high court, and this is some of their judgments. Okay, now we've got a case here. Can we just click on that, please? Right. What have we got here? Coram, Keifel, Gagel, Gordon, Eldman, Stewart, Gleeson and Jagged. Coram. They've got no Crown authority, they're telling us. Coram means to sit in the presence of. So what the hell are we doing here? We're all in the presence of each other. They've got no more authority than that. They're telling us. It's a very, when you get around their system, it is quite simple. You go down to any one of those court cases. This was just happened last month. They're still telling us. Because when I was talking to this bloke in South Australia, I had it quite a few years ago. And I thought, well shit, what are they doing today? So I brought it up again. The latest one. This is what the latest one was a couple of weeks ago. So it's in their definitions of quorum, it's in the presence of. They've got no Crown authority. They sit there like pieces of shit and their shit don't stink. But it is a fact, they have no authority, they have power because they've got the armed police backing them up. So in a system, we have to get to the police as much as possible and try, I know it's like belting your head against a brick wall, I've done it plenty of times, but try and get them across what they're doing.
Do we have any Crown barristers or Crown judges that are still absolutely true?
No. What happens there is the Governor-General wears two hats. The Governor-General wears the hat as the Governor-General representing the Crown under Section 61 of our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act as proclaiming Gazette. Then he wears another hat where he works with the
The other constitution.
pardon?
The other constitution.
No. When he's the Governor and Council, he works with the Executive Government. He appoints a judiciary. That finished in 1960. And then when you look at it, it's the Chief Justice that swears him in when it's right. And the Chief Justice sold his soul at that time because the Commission, the signet was covered. So the Commission was wrong. And the Chief Justice still swore him in. It's the same we're doing in Queensland here. We've got the Chief Justice here in Queensland, not with a pitch of shit, swearing in the so-called Governor of Queensland. Just total treason. Okay, that's...
My question is, did Australia used to have common law courts? Have we had common law courts?
Yes.
So we have operated under common
We
law
are,
courts?
if you read the Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act, Section 51 dictates that under this, the Parliament has the power to make laws for peace, order and good government of the Commonwealth of Australia. That is a common law contract. I had to find this out because they sent, when I had the farm up in North Queensland, they sent a barrister up from Brisbane and the top cops from Cairns and the Peninsula to a meeting to shut me down. They rammed that down my throat. The government can do whatever it wants. No, it cannot. You go into the Judiciary Act, Section 80, common law to govern, common law of England. They blew me out of court with this because after Jones, the Supreme Court judge in Cairns, I'm sitting in the court and he's saying to me, what the hell's wrong with you? You're sitting in a court of common law. And I couldn't work out what the hell he was on about. I go home that night and I go through everything, I find out In 1988, they changed common law of England to common law in Australia. Their bloody Australia, and we had nothing. Then you'll find with this voice bullshit that's going around, someone was talking about Mabo. In the Mabo case, they used 5 different common laws to get that through. Mabo won, he lost. 2 weeks later, common law of England was taken out. When they had Mabo 2, he won. 5 different common laws. And they got titles to land under the Queen of Australia. You wipe your ass on them. Now, it's factual. You got to. I was flown to Perth by a company over there to help them out. They were going through a bankruptcy system. Anyway, they got their solicitor, their bloody accountant, and the big boys of the company there in a room, and they were all fighting amongst each other what to do. And the bloke who's looking after me says, "Okay, Dick, what do you want?" I said, "Well, the solicitor's got his computer there, pull up the latest Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act." So he does that, and then he says, "Now what do you want?" I said, "Put the word pound in there." The accountant jumps straight up, he says, "I'm having nothing to do with this," and he's out the door. Hey, he knew exactly where I was going. The solicitor had a little bit of a read and shut the computer down and said, "You're not doing it." I wrote 2 letters. ANZ Bank had 2 hitmen. They went through the back of Queensland and they were going through the back of Western Australia. I wrote them 2 letters. I shut down the auction. The bloke who was looking after me, don't know how, but he ended up in hospital with a brain tumour. I don't know whether it came from the inside or the outside. But while he was under and the auction had been finished, the accountant went and seen the wife, and she allowed the auction to be restarted again, and they lost everything. But the big boys at the top know. We're the dumb bastards who don't know. This is why I'm pushing, if I can, to get a paper. A lot of this stuff can get out on a paper. It's all very well good for me to preach here, but if it's on a paper, it's a hell of a lot easier to print out, send out, and people have got something in their hand. Like Mick, he's got stuff up here. He's printed out for you to take away.
No, Mick.
Yes, no, he's good, real good. Actually, we should be standing out and clapping hands for him. He's done a hell of a job. Okay, so basically that's what I wanted to go through, just so you understand your land's, Commonwealth land is gone, and this is the Commonwealth side of things. Now I'd like to just start with the state side of things, of how we've been really screwed from our state system. And you try and talk to, like you got that clown from One Nation, Robinson, or whatever his name is. He's a piece of shit. No, he's a piece of shit. He tells you he swore his oath to the Queen of Australia. So who the hell's representing him? And when you go, you want to get one of these books, the Senate and the Legislative Assembly must be paid in pounds. So who the hell's representing us? We got nobody out there.
Dick, is that what they changed? I'm trying to get it in my head. They changed it from pounds to cents because then now it's all in their fictitious realm.
Yes, it's part of their system because today they own everything.
Yeah.
You take it, you go to the bank, you borrow. What are you borrowing?
Yeah.
Counterfeit money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in their system they control the whole damn lot. And like if they go into this digital money, they'll dictate to you whether you can spend this or spend that, or you spend too much in this, finish for the month.
That was the whole reason for the decision change.
This whole system is a little bit. And when you get into the Queensland stuff, bloody hell, these buggers have really screwed us. But it's done, all this is done, when we go through Queensland, all this is done in every other state. Like we did a big thing there the other day on South Australia, because South Australia, its public functionary seal, and what they changed it to with the Queen of Australia is so much difference, is astronomical. So we did that, me and another bloke from South Australia set that up for South Australia. But we've got to realise, seals at the top of a document dictate the authority of what the document is.
If, for example, the Value General puts the value of your land every year, can we ask them that we don't understand, can we have that in pounds, please?
You can ask them.
Will they give it to you?
No. Hey, people write all freedom of information letters. What's his name? Ron oh, what's the Western Australia ex-minister? Rod Cullerton. He writes these letters to somebody sitting in treason and expects an honest answer. I've spoken to him on the phone. We had a round meeting on the phone, what do you call those things? I don't know, a few of us were on it. And I asked him, how can your crew allow you to be bankrupt when the money's counted? Like, he has a big crew working for him. He couldn't answer that. Then I asked him, why don't you say that you sat in a treasonous Senate? Oh, he said, but I swore my oath properly. When you swear your oath to the Crown properly, there's got to be somebody in front of you that has authority from the Crown to accept it. Otherwise, you might as well swear it to the brick wall.